Yay! Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. Thank goodness it looks like the YouTube Live is working properly because I think a couple weeks ago I tried to do one and I had set it up improperly. So, like, I sent out all these links. Hey, I'll be live on YouTube. Tune in, tune in. And the link was wrong because I had to use a different link. So, anyway. Yeah, hopefully some people will tune in, and this is a Q&A, AMA, Ask Me Anything. So, questions about ketogenic diets, low carb, Alzheimer's disease. You all know I wrote a book about Alzheimer's, weight loss, thyroid, currently working on my 4th book, which will be about thyroid, and anything else, metabolism, physiology. I might not know the answer, but you're welcome to ask. Let's see. And waiting for some questions to come in. Hopefully people have questions. We'll wait for the numbers to come up maybe. And look at my hair is sticking out, everybody. Let's see, what can I tell you all in the meantime? Well, not that many people watching right now, but if anyone out there watching happens to have type 1 diabetes or know somebody who does, Adapt Your Life Academy is launching our brand new course on using low-carb diets in type 1 diabetes. I'm going to drop a link in the chat right now for you all. You can check that out. Sales open tomorrow, so you can't actually purchase the course now, but you can sign up for the list, and then as soon as doors open, you will be notified and you can buy the course. And as soon as you purchase it, you can start watching the video lessons. It's online, self-paced, so good stuff. Definitely type 1. And somebody asked some questions. I'll just chit chat if nobody has any questions yet. I treated myself to a combination pressure cooker air fryer. And I was hesitating on buying one of these contraptions because I'm single, I live alone, I'm mostly cooking for one. I'm quite content with my normal stash of regular pots and pans that I've been using for years. I do have an old school slow cooker. It's not programmable. There's no digital display. It's just, high, low, and off kind of settings, or keep warm. And that has served me very well for all these years, but I couldn't help myself. The, prices have been so good lately that, and it's here, it's actually back there on that table. I haven't used it yet. It just came like 2 or 3 days ago. So I did the test. You're supposed to test it to make sure that it works properly before you actually put food in it. But I have a beef roast defrosted that I look forward to testing in the pressure cooker. And it has a dehydrator setting too, which is really cool. So I kind of look forward to testing out making my own beef jerky. So that'll be fun. Oh, good. We have a question. Jen says, I am 7 months in on prescription strength keto. My weight loss is longer than 10 pounds. I'm not sure. The syntax is off here a little bit, but it looks like 10 pounds a month is so maybe you were losing 10 pounds a month. Now it's 2 pounds a month. Is this normal, or am I doing something wrong? It depends on how much you have to lose. And it is not abnormal at all to lose very quickly when you're new, and then it does slow down. It doesn't, like, I'm not shocked. That's very, very normal. Yeah, it's normal. Now I would look and see if there's anything that might be getting in the way, but 2 pounds a month is still pretty good. On average, that's about half a pound a week, right? Which is pretty good. So yeah, you're not necessarily doing anything wrong. Marlo says, if you have been doing keto long term, like more than 5 years, do you feel you need to do it differently? It seems that most go back to low carb. That is an entirely individual thing, an entirely individual decision. Some people, for medical reasons, need a strict ketogenic diet forever, period, end of story. Many people don't. Some people start out very, very strict keto, and let's say they lose all the weight they want to lose, all the health issues they had have been, reversed, they're gone. Some people will choose to then gradually reintroduce a little bit of carbohydrate and see how they do. And it's an entirely personal preference. There's no physical, biological reason why you would need to increase your carbs, but you could if you want to, and if you do well. In fact, the book that I wrote with Dr. Eric Westman, End Your Carb Confusion, walks people through exactly how to do that. If you get to a point in keto where you kind of want to eat a little more carbs, how do you do that? Spot 31 says, my BMI is 21.5, which is good. My waist is 37 inches, which is not so good. What to do? If you're not already doing a very low carb diet, do that. And the waist circumference thing is sometimes it's insulin, sometimes it's cortisol. So check your stress levels, check your sleep. I do think diet has the biggest impact, but that middle. So let me take a step back. Spot 31, whatever your real name is, you are so very not alone. That midsection tends to be some of the most stubborn fat. And my light is on way too bright. Let me turn that down a little bit. Okay, that's better, a little bit. That I wish that we could pick and choose where we want to lose fat from. Like, hey, could I lose it from here, please? Like, that would be nice. So there's not really any specific way to target that area, but I do think the stress hormones and poor sleep tend to affect that more so than the rest of the body. So anything you could do to improve sleep or stress, if those are issues for you. Otherwise, Dr. Westman would probably say, because I think I've heard him say this before, is just keep going. Just stay with keto. It's going to take time. It's just stubborn. You just have to keep with it. Glad there's no danger in long-term keto. Yeah, there's no harm in long-term keto. A lot of people reintroduce carbs. Some don't. Okay. Laura. Hey, Laura. Laura says, I would love to have an Amy pep talk on maintaining motivation, especially through the holidays where so many of our traditions revolve around food. So there are two different ways to go with this, in my opinion. Well, no, there's kind of three different ways. The first way is you could just eat whatever you want, choose to eat whatever you want, and then get right back on plan after the holiday. I hate to quote Dr. Westman so much. Some things he says, some of the analogies he uses, I'm like, oh, I wish he would stop saying that. But he does have some that are really golden. And one that is really golden that is in our book is, if you decide to indulge at the holidays, just be sure that you don't let a holiday turn into a holiday or a holiday month. Eating more carbs for one day or one meal is not a problem. It's if that spirals into 3 weeks, 3 months. So, okay, one way, just eat the food and move on with zero guilt, zero shame. It's the holidays. It was delicious, and that's all. Or, it's just, sometimes I say, it's just eating carbs. It's not like you murdered a litter of kittens. It's not like you molested a child. We're talking about eating a little bit of sugar. So let's put things in perspective. A second way to approach it is, you can absolutely still celebrate with food, celebrate with low carb foods. The holidays, just because there's a lot of chocolate and candy and pie and all this, there's also turkey and ham, and prime rib is always on sale this time of year, good cheese. I'm never going to be one of these people who is like, oh, food is fuel. You should never enjoy food. If food gives you pleasure, there's something wrong with you. Like, food is absolutely a source of pleasure. I mean, in the human culture, that's how we bond. That's how we, so I think it's fine to celebrate with food. Just celebrate with low carb foods. And then the third way is to just not let it revolve around food, and that's much easier said than done. I think that's something that has to be reprogrammed here, that it's a time to see loved ones. It's a time to, we would hope, to relax and calm down and step back and think about how much we have to be grateful for. I would hope that that's what the holidays are, as opposed to this stressful shopping frenzy, overspending, getting into debt, dealing with family that we hate, so it doesn't, just because the holidays have meant overindulging in food for so many years for us, doesn't mean they have to anymore. We can make a conscious decision to focus on other aspects of the holidays. So that's 3 ways, I hope. John, is this a question? Had bad keto flu when I changed eating. Yeah. Healthy keto without the crazy. 4.5 years later, and I seem to be getting the keto flu again. Ketone breath, you're fuzzy, lightheaded. I would have to know more about your situation. You've been doing keto 4.5 years. Right now that some of this stuff has come back, have you changed anything about your diet? If you're doing something differently, it's possible your body could be readjusting, or it could be something else entirely. Maybe you're coming down with an illness, or something else that I was just going to say that could be causing this. Yeah, it could just be something else. Or, if you have started or stopped any medication, that can always mess with the body a little bit. So I would have to know more about your situation. Ange says, since I've been close to strict page 4, and I think, well, it's buried under the box on which my webcam is perched, because this is a low budget operation here, people. I have a copy of page 4 buried under there. Ange is asking about page 4. For those of you who don't know what that is, it is the food list that Dr. Westman has been using in his clinic for 20 years. I will post a link to where you can get your very own copy of page 4, and then I will answer that question. Give me a sec here. In the chat, this is page 4 right there. Okay, so I've been close to strict page 4 with the exception of extra cream in my coffee. Why am I still wanting chocolates and sweets, and I'm still hungry in the afternoon eating 3 meals? Why are you still wanting chocolate and sweets? Because you, my friend, are human. Welcome to the human race. For some people, after adjusting to keto, the cravings totally disappear. That doesn't happen for everyone. You are not alone. You're not broken. You're not the only one. So it's hard. The cravings, you just have to deal with them. I don't want to spend the whole hour like talking about strategies for that, but I don't think you're not necessarily doing something wrong if you're still having those cravings. And as for being hungry in the afternoon, you're eating 3 meals. What are you eating? You're close to strict on page 4, but I find that if people are hungry, sometimes you just need to eat more. I don't know anything about your situation. I don't know if you're trying to lose weight or reverse diabetes or anything, but I'm going to assume you're female with a name like Ange, but I don't know. Forgive me if that's wrong. Many women tend to skimp on protein. So we're eating these little itty bitty portions of protein, and we wonder why we're hungry 2 hours later. So I would just eat larger meals, and see if that keeps you satiated, and you're still hungry in the afternoon, but you're eating 3 meals a day. Is how long since your last meal is that afternoon hunger coming on? That would be an interesting question, eating 3 meals, and I will offer one suggestion here regarding the cravings. And I don't love this idea, but it has helped several people whom I have presented it to. Try 2 or 3 days of nothing but bacon and eggs or steak and eggs. Don't even do the vegetables. Don't do, like, if cream in your coffee is probably okay. So that the rationale for that, at least in my mind, is that typically will take most people to a deeper state of ketosis than they are normally in, even if they're following page 4. And deeper ketosis is not magical for everybody. However, it makes a noticeable difference for some. For some people, being in that deeper state of ketosis really takes the edge off hunger and cravings. Hunger more so than cravings, but that's just something you could try for 2 or 3 days. Like I said, nothing but bacon and eggs. And I wouldn't even worry about the portion sizes. I would just eat when you're hungry, but eat something that is basically 0 carb and see how you do. Now, if I do have to caveat that if you are taking any medication for diabetes or blood pressure, be really careful, because being in that deeper ketosis might induce side effects from those medications. So just be really careful with that. Somebody's watching from Estonia. Hello, very cool. We are officially international. And let me just take a quick pause break here. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. I am on Patreon. And for those of you that don't know there it is in the chat. For those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it's a platform where you can subscribe. There's a monthly fee where you get exclusive content that is not available to anyone else. So I do multiple sessions like this, live Q&As, live discussion sessions, multiple times a month. Depending on the tier you subscribe to, you could get not previews, early release of my normal YouTube videos. You'll get them like 2 days before I publish them for the general public. Discounts on consultations. I do individual one-on-one consultations for keto and low carb. You can get a discount if you're a patron. And what else? Yeah, just cool stuff. So check that out. If you enjoy these sessions, you can have a lot more of them every month if you are a patron. And I promise, and there's no long-term commitment. So if you do it for a month or 2 and you hate it, you just quit anytime you like. And it's very easy to use. I am a Luddite. The fact that I even have a YouTube channel is a miracle, let me tell you. So if you are someone who's a little like skittish, but I don't want to have to learn how to use this new platform, and like, it's very, very easy. There's no it's not something you have to keep up with every day. And I don't post a million times a day where you get flooded with stuff. I totally feel your pain with the fear of new social media type stuff. I don't know that I really consider Patreon social media. And the people who support the creators are called patrons. It's just like in the Medici times of like the Renaissance and stuff. Creative people who did works of art or whatever had patrons who supported them financially in order to help them be able to make that content. So people like me that do videos or write articles or even record audio, that's what I do, but other people can even mail you tangible goods that they make. There's poets you can support. There's, potters and clay makers. Anyway, the patrons help make all of this stuff possible. So check that out if you are so inclined. And now let's get back to the questions. Let's see. Do I have advice for people with low stomach acid? Yeah, I would first confirm that you have low stomach acid. Like don't guess. There are actual tests that you can do. If you know you have that, there are supplements, and you're the one in Estonia. I'm not sure what's available there, but in the US, you can buy supplements that contain HCl, like betaine hydrochloric acid, which is stomach acid. And they have other digestive enzymes in that supposedly can help with digestion. I have not used them myself, so I can't vouch for them, but those things are available. Some people would even say use vinegar with your meals. Like you could even, put a shot of apple cider vinegar or whatever vinegar you like in a glass of water before a meal, and give yourself some actual acid. I don't know if that works so well or not, but it couldn't hurt to try. I would see if you could maybe buy some of those digestive supplements and the stomach acid supplements basically, and see if that helps. Okay, Laura is commenting on, we talked about how to deal with food in the holidays earlier, and the first strategy I mentioned was just eat the carbs and move on, and she said that's the one she did. One thing I want to say is, for those of you that might choose this option to just eat the carbs and enjoy and then get right back on plan, do not weigh yourself the next day. If you want to weigh yourself, you can, but you will almost definitely be up a few pounds. You cannot let that freak you out. That is water retention from the glycogen that you are storing because of the carbohydrate you ate. You did not gain that many pounds or kilos of body fat overnight. It doesn't work that way. Your body's just holding on to water. And as soon as you get back to being very, very low carb again, that will go away. So I would say don't get on the scale, or get on the scale if seeing that number, even knowing it's not fat, if seeing that number is going to be like, oh, back to keto right now. If it's going to help you, get on the scale. If it's going to mess with your head, don't get on the scale. And I would say the same thing if you do not have diabetes, but you check your blood sugar anyway, please, I'm begging you, skip the blood sugar checking for a day or two. Just make a conscious decision to enjoy whatever you choose to enjoy, and then move on. Don't freak out about your blood. If you have a CGM, don't even look at it, so okay. If calcium, hello, hi. If calcium is, yeah, Carrie, hello. If calcium is a little high, does that mean I need more calcium or less in the diet? I don't really want to comment. This is more of a medical thing, but if the labs say that 10.3 is like the top of the range and you are at 10.4, 10.5, I would recommend getting a repeat measurement. We never really want to base anything off of a one-time measurement. You would want to see if this is a pattern for you. So like if it's always been normal in the past, I think, and these ranges typically, if you're a little on the high side or a little on the low side, it doesn't really matter much. It's kind of like if it's really high or low, it's a problem. So I would just say get a repeat measurement, or check with your doctor, see what they mean. They probably are not concerned with it being just a little bit out of the range. And Carrie, as a follow-up, is that normal for those of us doing keto? No, but that doesn't mean that there's a problem. There's a lot of things that happen in keto, and then there's a lot of things that happen to us that have nothing to do with keto, and this might be one of them. So I wouldn't worry, but I would see what the next measurement is next time, or maybe your doctor would want to repeat it. I don't know. I just again, I can't. This is not medical advice, but just in my experience, it's like you're just slightly higher. It's not like, oh, ooh, there's a problem here. Like, yikes. It's not really like that. Hi from Kansas, California, New Zealand. We're not even like, now we're not just international. We are dual hemisphere. This is awesome. There's some really good low carb researchers in New Zealand. There are some people doing good work down there. Somebody needs to have a conference and invite me. I've only heard the most beautiful, wonderful things about New Zealand, and it's probably like a 24-hour flight. I would be willing to deal with that to visit New Zealand. Francine says, can I do page 4 receiving diabetes? I don't know what receiving, do you mean reversing diabetes? With 2 meals if not hungry? Do I worry about calories or satiety? I would have to know more about your situation. I don't, if you're not hungry, yeah, 1 or 2 meals a day is fine. There is zero about the human body and digestion and physiology that says we must eat 3 meals a day with snacks. If you're not hungry, 1 or 2 meals is fine. Looking Chow CEO is looking forward to my thyroid book. Me too. When will it be out? Not soon enough. My co-author just sent me some edits that I actually am going to look through later today. I wish this book was already out. My part of it was finished last February, and then I contacted this person and we decided to collaborate. And I just hope that her contribution will make it a much stronger book and it will be worth the wait. But in the meantime, I'm going to post, give me a sec, I got to find the link. La, la, la. I'm going to post one of the videos that I did that I think is the most educational video I've done on thyroid so far. Just ignore, I talk about an online course in this video. That course is not currently available right now, so ignore that. But the whole first half of the video is a good presentation, complete with slides and everything on thyroid. So this is the video you want to watch for that. Tyler Cartwright is here. Hi, Tyler. You guys know Keto Gains? Tyler is one of the founders of the awesome Keto Gains group, and he is here. Ataroa Girl, I'm probably mispronouncing that, is asking, if people ask you what you did to lose weight, what are your best tips for how to talk about it without mentioning the K word? What's the K word? I don't know what you're talking about. No. Couple of different ways to go. One is use the K word and be proud of it. You know, like Dr. Ken Berry, I'm sure most of you know who Ken Berry is. Ken Berry says, you know, keto is a very loaded word, right? Because people who don't know what it really is think it's just a pile of burger patties with cheese and bacon. And that's like literally all you eat, which is fine, frankly, but that's not what most of us do. But they think it's this crazy, like people are putting a stick of butter in their coffee and they're fasting for 10 days. Like that's what they think keto is because they don't know any different. It's our job, it's our duty almost to reclaim the word. And so Ken very often says, like, you could dance around it and pussyfoot around it or use the word. And when they challenge you, speak up for what it really is, because the first time, and this is what Dr. Berry says, the first time a doctor hears about keto, oh, whatever, that crazy keto. The second time, oh, another one of these keto people. The 10th time, the 20th time, the 50th time a patient comes to them and says, hey, look, doc, I lost 30 pounds doing keto. That doctor might have to say, it's like 50 people now coming into my clinic. Maybe I should look into this keto thing. So I know you're not talking about a doctor, you're talking about friends. Say you're doing keto but be clear, hey, keto isn't what you probably think it is. Here's what I normally eat. That's one way. If you don't want the headache and the hassle that would probably come from that, I would just say, I don't eat sugar. I stopped eating sugar and refined carbs. Or you could say, I eat mostly really good protein and vegetables. Nobody can argue with that unless like a vegan or something, but even vegans need protein. You know, it's hard to argue if you say, I stopped eating junk food. I eat really good proteins, lots of non-starchy vegetables and healthy fats. Who's gonna tell you that that's a crazy fad? Oh, you don't eat protein and vegetables and healthy fats. That's unsustainable. Like nobody. So that's one way to go, is just And that's the truth. You're not even lying. You're not hiding anything. That's the absolute truth. I don't eat sugary garbage anymore. So that's what I would say. Or you could offer to gift them a copy of End Your Carb Confusion and say, this is what I did. You know, just a little suggestion there. Oh. Bonnie says, I'm still confused about protein needs. I eat 2 meals a day, basically page 4, but when I do count macros, I usually eat only about 70 grams per day. I'm 5'4" and 67 years old. That's okay. That doesn't sound like a problem to me. I think it would be fine and maybe even beneficial to have a little more, but 70 is a little on the light side, but if you had said 50, I'd be like, could we bump that up to like 70, 75? I wouldn't worry about it. I would say, so you talked about protein needs. And if Tyler's still watching, he can call me out if any of this is BS. Anytime there's recommendations given for you should have this much of X per day and this much of Y per day, it's always a general ballpark. It's always like the amount of protein that's right for a professional football player is probably not the amount of protein that Amy Berger needs to sit on her butt in front of the computer all day. So I wish it was. But so it not only is it like a general ballpark, it's not an exact amount that you have to hit every single day or something bad is going to happen. You could be a bit lower some days, much higher some days, as long as it sort of evens out to what you need. You know, nobody's going to waste away if you don't get, if you just eat 20 grams of protein one day. You're not going to like waste away the next day. So I honestly, I guess that was the really long way of saying don't overthink it. I would err on the side of a little more protein, increasing your portion sizes, but don't force it. If you're not hungry, 70 is okay. It's not too bad. H, how am I supposed to know? Made it to my first live. Hello, welcome. Melinda says, I wasn't going to comment, but I think it's bad advice to eat the carbs at the holiday, she means. It's like saying, yes, make yourself feel bad and sick. And you are well entitled to your opinion. I'm not recommending that people eat the carbs. I'm not saying, hey, everybody, at the holidays, what you should do is pig out on all the carbs that you want. No, it's one option that somebody might choose to do. And if they choose to do it, they have to accept responsibility for the negative consequences they might face, for feeling bloated, for having heartburn, for having brain fog the next day, for having a headache, whatever's going to ensue. But being an adult sucks big time. One of the nice things about being an adult is that we get to make our own decisions, and somebody might make the decision to eat the carbs. But I mean, you're right. You're not wrong. But it's, people can eat it or not eat it. It's an option just like anything else. And I just lost my train of thought. Right. If for the people out there who, there are some people who can have carbs at a holiday. You can have the pumpkin pie, the sweet potato pie, the rolls, the cranberry sauce, whatever, and get right back on plan the next day or the next meal, and it's not an issue. There are some people who that is going to lead to 6 weeks or 6 months of a bender, and you regain 30 pounds. Yeah. If you know that you are one of those bender people, don't do it. Like if you wait, is the risk greater that you're going to be off the rails for a while? Then, you have to know yourself and not do it. I'm more concerned. I don't mean to attack you, Melinda. It's honestly a very legitimate comment, and you have allowed me to bring up some of these other issues that are important. I am more concerned about the mental and emotional and psychological aspects of what happens after somebody indulges in carbs than I am the physical. Yeah, your blood sugar is going to be high for a couple of hours. Whoop-de-doo. You might have a headache. Whoop-de-doo. I'm more concerned with somebody spending the next day or two cloaked in shame and self-loathing. And I can't believe I did that. What's wrong with me? I can't believe I ate those carbs. That's what I want people to not deal with. If you're going to eat the carbs, give yourself permission to eat them so that you don't have to beat yourself up for having done exactly what you gave yourself permission to do. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I'm definitely not encouraging eating the carbs. I'm trying to help people navigate what to do if they choose to do it. Tummy trouble. I have tummy trouble, a lot of problem with gas when I eat off keto. Is that normal? I didn't used to have this problem until I upped my carbs from 20 to 50 to 100. Yeah, that's probably pretty normal because you're probably eating a lot more fiber. I can only guess, but you're probably eating a lot more material, indigestible fibrous material that's making its way through your GI tract. And when that stuff reaches your colon, because the human body, we don't make enzymes to break down and digest that, but the bacteria in our colon do. They kind of eat away and ferment that fiber, and that makes gas inside us. So I'm not surprised at all. And it's up to you whether that's something you want to deal with or not. And if you're feeling ambitious, you could probably systematically eat certain things and see what's more problematic than others. Like there might be certain foods that cause you more gas and bloating than others. And for me, this is a little TMI, but we're all friends here. I love Brussels sprouts. Love them, like roasted, crispy, so they get brown and soft and yummy. Oh, I love them. They cause the most wicked gas, foul-smelling gas. Good thing I live alone, but it's worth it to me. It is worth it. I don't eat them every day, but that's the price I pay for enjoying really delicious Brussels sprouts. So, if you enjoy eating that much carbohydrate and you enjoy the food that you're eating, that might be worth it. But you might, I would suspect some foods are probably causing that more than others. And you might be able to tease it out if you kind of went systematically, but that can be really annoying, I know. I'm gonna just mention my Patreon one more time. All of you, there's the link for Patreon in the chat. All of you who enjoy these live Q&A sessions, you can have this multiple times every month by subscribing to the Patreon. And again, it's no long-term commitment. Do it for a month or two. If it's not a good fit for you, you just cancel anytime. And yeah. Let's see about these questions. Yeah, Andrea has a great suggestion. If I'm talking to a medical, talking about mentioning the K word, if I'm talking to a medical person, I say I cut out all processed foods and junk food, and they are happy with that. Yeah. What doctor, what nutritionist, what PA, nurse practitioner would poo-poo that? What medical or food professional would tell you that that's bad? So I think that's a good way to go, that you just eat better food. Okay, good. Tyler has I'm just making my way through the comments now. Tyler has confirmed the stuff about protein. Yeah, 40 grams a meal, 2 to 4 times a day is fine. Society. Okay, I think I'm all caught up for now. Anyone have any other questions or comments? If anyone else out there has a pressure cooker, Instant Pot type thing, if you have a good recipe for a beef roast, let me know. Leave a link, because I have a large roast, and I'm just hoping that it'll be good to cook in. I think that's like kind of one of the best things you can cook in a pressure cooker, I think. Like, and it'll be fast, and hopefully it'll get cooked. I just don't want to overcook it. I don't want it to like turn into like dry, tough leather, even though there'll be stock or broth in the pot with it. If you know, it can still dry out and get really stringy, and I don't want that to happen. And if it does, I'll still eat it. Like, I'll put some sauce on it. It'll be fine, and that'll be a learning experience, but hopefully it'll come out yummy. And it has I'm looking over there because it's right there. It has a yogurt setting. I've never made homemade yogurt before. And it's combination air fryer, so I can do like whatever, grilling, roasting, broiling. It's going to be so much fun. Okay, I don't see any other questions yet. What else can I share with you all? Oh, Andrea says, canned cod livers versus beef liver. Which is better, or should we be eating both? I don't eat either. I would say eat what you like. And if you don't like either one, don't force yourself. There is nothing magical about either of those. If you like one or both, eat them. I eat neither. Once in a while, I make a chicken liver spread. Chicken livers are much more mild than beef livers. I have a yummy recipe for like a pate spread, or I can do a liverwurst or like a Braunschweiger, but a big slab of like liver and onions. Oh, I can't do it. I can't. What are your suggestions for food after having surgery? Well, it depends on what kind of surgery it is. If it's surgery on your esophagus or your mouth, like maybe you need liquid meals, maybe you need shake. It's hard for me to say. I don't, assuming you can eat normally, I don't think you need to do anything differently. In fact, and Tyler and I discussed this on one of my live sessions a few weeks ago that he also attended. You don't need carbohydrate to heal from a surgery. If anything, eating lower carb is better, because high blood sugar is bad for healing. It's bad for wound healing, bad for tissue repair. So I would just keep eating what you're eating now. And if you're going to be in a hospital for some period of time, check with the staff or check with your doctor. Your family or friends or whoever might be able to bring food in for you if the hospital doesn't have low carb options available. So I would check that, but I don't think you need to do anything differently depending on the type of surgery you have. Have I ever tried using sous vide? Not yet. And the pot also does sous vide. I have friends who swear by that. So I'm sure that I have a lot of experimenting ahead of me. Let's just say that. I haven't tried it yet, but yeah, it's definitely something I should try. Stephanie Fernholz. Hey, Stephanie. Stephanie and I met in person at an event I was at in the Netherlands. Good to see you. She is asking, good question. What are good foods to lower uric acid? I am having a gout problem this year and high uric acid numbers, which I cannot explain. Now you've been very low carb keto for a while, I know, so this may or may not be the issue for you. A lot of people out there, if you don't know, gout is not caused by eating red meat. It's not caused by eating shellfish. It's not caused by eating animal proteins. It goes sort of right along with metabolic syndrome and hyperinsulinemia, because insulin does a lot more than just lower your blood sugar. One of the many other things insulin does is causes the body to retain uric acid. So in fact, some people think that elevated uric acid should be added to the diagnostic criteria for metabolic syndrome. But now, Stephanie, I know you're super healthy. You don't have metabolic syndrome. When people are new to keto, or if they're fasting, And like all of us, and the other thing is uric acid and ketones compete for excretion. So if you're like brand new to keto and just overnight you stopped eating all these carbs that you've been eating all your life, or you're fasting, your ketone level is like all of a sudden your body's making all these ketones that it wasn't making before. Yikes. The ketones are going to, they're sort of like prioritized for excretion. And so the body's busy excreting the ketones, the uric acid is going to sort of be left behind to accumulate. So it's I wouldn't say it's common, but it's a known thing that for people that do have gout, if you start a keto diet, you might experience some gout flares, and it's because of that. It's because of that reason, and it evens out over time. Typically, over the longer term, people with gout have fewer and fewer episodes, and then none. So, I don't know what's going on with you. If you've been fasting, or if you have modified your diet a little bit, that you think you're maybe in a deeper ketosis right now than you normally are, that's what I would suspect. That would be my main suspicion. But uric acid is getting a lot of buzz right now because I think Dr. Perlmutter wrote a book called like Dropping Acid or Drop Acid, or I haven't read the book. I can't vouch for it. So there may be a lot of other things causing higher uric acid that I'm not aware of. I do know fructose can be a big issue, but if you're on keto, you're not eating that much fructose, if any. So and I think too, like just like blood sugar, just like insulin, just like triglycerides, we do need a little bit of uric acid. Like uric acid in the bloodstream is not a problem. It's when there's too much. So like uric acid is actually an endogenous antioxidant. It performs necessary functions. So we don't want to have none. So I don't want everyone to be like, uric acid. Your uric acid level will never be zero. So, but yeah, we just don't want it to be too high. Hopefully that helps. I don't know if it does or not. I have a video on gout. If after this, those of you that are interested in this issue, if you go to my YouTube channel and search my channel specifically, not all of YouTube, but search gout, that video will come up. Ooh, Melissa says, do you see people typically stall after losing a significant amount of weight for a while, or does this happen only if they are eating too many carbohydrates? Yes, I do see people stall. I wrote a whole book about it called The Stall Slayer, stallslayer.com. Your copy will not, this is my author preprint copy. Your copy will not have this gray line around it. I'm out of like new copies, so I have to show that sample one. Stallslayer.com. Why don't I just give you all a link for convenience? And then I will actually get to the more detailed answer of your question. Book on fat loss. Whoops. Fat loss stalls. Okay. Yes, I think many people, though not all, hit a stall, and lots of reasons why. For some people, it is, yeah. Some people just get complacent. They don't mean to. They're not like eating bowls of pasta and cereal, but little bits of this and that are creeping in, little like just a little bit more carbohydrate, but it's enough to kind of interfere with continued weight loss. So that's one thing. Another thing is, and nobody wants to hear this, but it's true. Sometimes it's too much fat. Just because you're on a keto diet doesn't mean fat is unlimited. You can be in ketosis and gain body fat. Ask me how I know. I've done it. So you have to be careful. And I don't want to scare anybody about fat. Like, be very clear here about what I'm saying. Overdoing fat can be a problem. Like, you do not have to eat 80% fat or hit some kind of fat macro. And usually, in my experience, what causes the problem with too much fat is not so much the fat that comes with protein food. Like if you're eating a fatty steak or you're eating, a nice juicy fatty pork chop, that's okay. I think people tend to get in more trouble with added fats and oils, like using, 4 tablespoons of heavy cream in every cup of coffee you're having, and you're having like 4 cups a day, or lots and lots of butter and cheese and nuts. I mean, nuts and nut butters are a biggie. So those, sometimes it's too much fat. I honestly think the stalls are just that sort of complacency. You're kind of like not quite as strict as you were when you started. That probably is the number one thing. But that is what you thought. Like, are they just eating too many carbs? Yeah, they are. But it's again, they're not eating tons of starch. They're just eating a little more carbohydrate than is going to work for them. And of course, there's a whole chapter in the Stall Slayer book on defining a stall. If it's been a week or 2 or 3 and you haven't lost weight, that's not a stall. It is totally possible for your weight, your scale weight, to not move, but you could be getting smaller. Your body is shifting. So you could be losing a size, even though the scale hasn't changed. So we never really want to go solely by the scale. And then sometimes, if somebody is well and truly stalled and it's been a while, like, honestly, sometimes you don't have to change anything, and somebody's not doing anything wrong at all. They just have to be patient and ride that out. And it just, like, it was going well, now not so much. And you're not doing anything differently. You're doing exactly what you were doing when it was going well. And sometimes everything is actually fine, and it just is taking its time, and it's going to kick in at some point. And I don't know why, but I just know that happens sometimes. Let's see what else. Joe Shane says, with the roast, cook with bouillon, vegetables, and slow cook to get tender. Yeah, I have some onions waiting. I have some beef stock. I think it's going to be delish. Yeah, Stephanie says, with the gout, perfectly logical to me, almost carnivore right now, so maybe in a deeper ketosis. Yeah, could be. Low amount of carbs and see, yeah. So says, I love all your nicknames, everybody. When I first started eating low carb, I felt full. Now, a few months in, I'm hungry all the time. Well, I mean, I would need to know more about, maybe you need to eat more. I don't know what your situation is. Is it a problem that you're hungry all the time? Maybe you need larger meals. Or if you've had a change in medication or anything, like, there's a lot of different things that could be contributing to that. And if I don't know anything, see, just for all your edification out there, this is what makes the difference. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here or anything, but this kind of nuance is the difference between someone who has formal training in this stuff versus somebody on the interwebs. I mean, we are on the interwebs right now, but somebody on social media who's just like, oh, you're hungry all the time, here's what you should do. How are you telling them what to do when you have no clue about that person's situation? Maybe they just started a new medicine, or maybe they stopped a medicine, or maybe they have made some other change. So it's hard for me to recommend anything. But if you're not sick, if you don't have any medical issues, and I don't know why you're hungry. If you started working out more, that'll increase your appetite for sure. Yeah. If you don't have a need to, like, deliberately limit your food intake, I would just eat more. I think that's fine. Okay, I'll answer a couple more, then we'll close out. Miss Joyce Fox, cannot stop wanting to eat carbs in the evenings. I'm fine during the day. So Miss Joyce Fox, I don't know if you were tuned in way at the beginning of this broadcast, but somebody asked something about, I've been keto for this many months or whatever. Why do I still crave chocolate and sweets? And I said, because you're human. You're human, like, yay, welcome to the club. Here's the secret handshake. So this nighttime eating, and especially nighttime eating or craving of carbs, is so common. So this is probably the third or fourth time I've said it this video in relation to different things. You are so very not alone. So many of us, and I say us because this is a me problem too, have this issue of just feeling like a bottomless pit at night, wanting to eat carbs. I'm going to post a link to, I actually just did a video about this a couple of weeks ago because it's such a big prevalent topic. I'm going to put it in the chat for you. And so you should watch that when you have a chance. The video is called, like, Are You a Nighttime Eater? But so I address the nighttime, but I also address the carbs, I think. So give me one sec. Oops. Video on night. There's that video on nighttime eating. Paula says, what are my thoughts on MCT oil? It can be helpful in certain situations. Not everybody needs it. The reason it can be helpful in certain situations is because, for those of you who do not know, MCT oil contains special types of fats that your body more easily converts into ketones, even if you're not on a low carb or ketogenic diet, even if you're just eating a normal higher carb diet. If you take MCT oil, you will have a little elevation of ketones. So my first book, The Alzheimer's Antidote, all about Alzheimer's disease, I talk about why you might consider using some MCT oil in somebody that has any kind of cognitive decline or cognitive impairment. I would say the same thing about Parkinson's disease or multiple sclerosis or anything for which we need to fuel the nervous system with something other than glucose. And that's a whole other topic. But and there are some people, because of that little boost in ketones, who notice that they just have sharper thinking, more mental clarity. If they, so the most common way that a lot of people on keto use it is they put it in their coffee, and then you would want to use a little frother or blender to kind of help mix it in. You wouldn't just want like an oil slick on top of your coffee. Some people swear by this because they notice a difference. Many people don't. So that's, it's a very long answer to a short question. It's not a magical weight loss tool. There's nothing magical about the MCT oil itself that is going to make you lose weight faster or help you reverse type 2 diabetes faster. That's not the purpose of it. I think you should save your money for good food, unless I have nothing against people using MCT oil if you feel that it is a genuine benefit, but it's not required. It doesn't, you can do keto without it. It's not a required part of being on a keto diet. Okay, just a couple more. Larry Tadlock is doing vegan keto. Okay, you're already vegan for 35 years. I got into ketosis for 10 days. Okay, yeah, that's not really a question. Oh, there it is, a question later. You got out of ketosis. Is it good to cycle in and out like that? So the fact is, everybody cycles in and out. Even on a ketogenic diet, your ketone level will fluctuate. Nobody's ketone level is going to be like 3.0 all the time, 24/7. It's just not going to happen. It is totally normal for the ketone level to be higher and lower throughout the day, throughout the course of a week. So I don't think going in and out of ketosis, going from 20 to 50 grams of carbs, is very different from going from 20 grams of carbs to 200 grams of carbs to 20 grams of carbs to 200 grams of carbs. That I don't recommend. What you're doing, just because you're not in ketosis, doesn't mean you are not still on a low carb diet. 50 grams of carbs is still a low carb diet for sure. So just because you are not producing ketones doesn't mean your body doesn't still have a primarily fat-based metabolism. So I think I'm going to post a link to a blog post that I wrote, believe it or not, a million years ago on ketones and ketosis and having a burning fat versus being in ketosis. And I think this will be really educational. Fat burning versus ketosis. And you see me squinting all the time. Yes, I should wear my glasses more than I do. But yeah, I wouldn't worry. What you're doing basically, Larry, is you're just on a low carb diet. Some days you're ultra low carb. Some days you're just low carb, and that's fine. But I don't recommend bouncing from like ultra low carb to massively high carb, every few days. But what you're doing is just following a low carb diet all the time, which is fine. That's kind of what I do. Like, I'm in ketosis most of the time, but I rarely measure. I go through periods where I measure more and then I don't. I'm always low carb. Sometimes I'm ketogenic, sometimes I'm not. And I think that's fine. Okay, I think I am all caught up. Let's end here. We are over the hour. Thank you everyone for being here. Do check out the Patreon. Literally, if you want this kind of access to me, to ask questions, to discuss, you can have that multiple times a month. And the lowest tier, it's only $10. $10 a month. You could join Patreon for a year at $10 a month, and it costs you less than one private consultation with me. So if you're looking for an economical option to be able to pick my brain more often, it's a lot cheaper to join Patreon than it is to do a consultation, but I'm happy if you want to do a consultation too. So I'm going to drop that link one more time and then we will go. All right. Happy holidays, everybody. I wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, happy whatever else I might be forgetting. Happy end of year times. That's it. Food is just food. If you want to eat carbs at the holidays, eat them. If you don't. Stop making it, whichever way you go, stop making it such a big deal. It's just food. All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Now I have to find the end button, you guys. My setup is not conducive to me finding the stop video button. I said goodbye and I'm still here. 1 second. End stream. There we are. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. Bye, everybody.